Hi, welcome back to the Gemara in Gittin, starting on Mem Hamad Aleph, going to Mem Hamad Bet. We're starting from the Mishnah. Ve'en lochin sfarim tefillin u'mezuzot min ha'avdei kochavim yoter al kedei demehen mipnei tikun ha'olam. You are not allowed to buy sfarim, holy books, tefillin u'mezuzot, from avdei kochavim, from idol worshippers, for more than their value, for more than their worth, because of tikun ha'olam. And I'm not going to make a Mikra Din Tam chart here, but I am going to highlight this in red because it is Tanaitic material, and we'll go on to the Gemara. Amar le Rav Budi le Rav Ashi, Yeter al kedei dmehen hu de'in lochin, habichdei dmehen lochin. More than their worth, you can't buy them, right? The Mishnah specifies that you're not allowed to buy them for more than their worth. So behold, bichdei mehen lochin, you must be allowed to buy them for their actual worth. The fact that the Mishnah says you can't buy them if they're charging more than their worth, that implies that you must be able to buy them for their actual worth from an oved kochavim. Shma mina sefer Torah shenimtza biyad oved kochavim korin bo. So we learn from here that a sefer Torah that was found in the hands of an idol worshipper, you can read from that Sefer Torah. You can use that Sefer Torah. Dilma lignos, or maybe you can just buy it, but you have to put it in the geniza. Maybe you can't actually use it in any real way. And there are different ways to read this, but I'm going to say that this is all a challenge / question. Right? If you wanted to break it up further, you could say it's a deduction from the Mishnah, right? That Yeter al kedei dmehen hu de'in lochin habichdei dmehen lochin. And maybe this Dilma lignos, maybe this is Rav Ashi's kind of response, but it's a maybe response, right? Perhaps. So even if it's two voices here, this all kind of adds together to create a question. Is the Mishnah saying that it's only that you can't buy it for more than it's worth, but you can buy it for its actual worth? And if so, can you actually read from that once you buy it? Or can you just buy it in order to put it away in the geniza, right? Better that you should have it and put it someplace safe than the Oved Kochavim could have it, but that's different than saying that you can actually read from that Sefer Torah. Amar Rav Nachman, Naktinan Sefer Torah shekatvu min. So Rav Nachman says, we hold that we have a tradition that a Sefer Torah that was written by a heretic, yisaref, it should be burned. There's nothing you can do with that Sefer Torah, nothing productive to be done with that Sefer Torah. Katvu aved kochavim yignos. If an idol worshipper wrote it, then it goes into the geniza. Nimtza biyad min yignos. If it's found in the hands of a heretic, you put it in the geniza, meaning if it's found in their attic or in their hands, but you're not sure who wrote it, so it should go into storage. Nimtza biyad oved kochavim, and if it was found in the hands of an oved kochavim, and again, you're not exactly sure who wrote it, but that's where it was found. Amri la yignos v'amri la korimba. There are some who say, there's one opinion that says it should go into the geniza, and there's one opinion that says you can actually read from it. So I would say that all of this is a response, although we'll have to consider to what extent it actually responds to the issue that's being raised. But Rav Nachman is clear on the different categories, a min versus an oved kochavim, and also the category of knowing for sure which one of those people wrote it versus finding it with one of those people. But he has two opinions on the subject of a Sefer Torah that was just found with an Oved Kochavim, whether you have to put it in the geniza or you can read from it, and that would seem to be the issue that's most closely related to our Mishnah and the issue that was raised about our Mishnah. Sefer Torah shekatvu Oved Kochavim, a Sefer Torah that was written by an Oved Kochavim, Tani Chada Yisaref. One Tanaitic source, one Tana says you have to burn it. V'Tanya Irach, and another Tanaitic source, Yignos, says that you put it into storage. V'Tanya Irach Korimba. And a third Tana says that you can actually use that Sefer Torah and read from it. And you can read this as another response to the question. That might be the easiest way. Or sort of a new statement, an introduction of new materials. Keep in mind that the question that was raised was about getting a Sefer Torah shenimtza biyad kochavim, and this, if it's a response, is not exactly to that question. It's about a Sefer Torah that was written by an Oved Kochavim. So I'm going to put it in as a statement, but I'm going to put these pieces, I'm going to highlight them in red because they reflect Tannaitic information. So how can we have three different Tannaitic positions about the same issue? Lo kasha. Oh, actually, so maybe I'll change this and I'll make it a challenge. Then it's going to be hard to read. Okay. Lo kasha. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. Hadatanya Yisaref. The Breita that teaches Yisaref, the Tannaitic source that says that you have to burn such a Torah, Rabbi Eliezer he. That's the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. De'amar, who said, Stam machshavet oved kochavim la'avodat kochavim. He said that the basic thought, right? Unless you know otherwise, you can assume that the thought of an oved kochavim, the thought of an idol worshiper, turns towards idol worship. So, in other words, you can assume, according to Rabbi Eliezer, that when the Oved Kochavim wrote the Sefer Torah, what he had in mind was idol worship. He didn't have our God in mind. He had idol worship in mind. So I'm going to say that all of this is an answer or a resolution. But this doesn't say that it's quoting directly. We'll just call this a maybe instead of highlighting it in red, it's not necessarily a direct Tannaitic quote. I'll say this is the proof text. The Da'amar is the proof text. We know that that's Rabbi Eliezer's position. The Hadatanya Yignoz, Hai Tanahu, Titani Rav Hamnuna Bereza Rava Mifashrunya. The opinion that you have to take such a Sefer Torah and put it in the Geniza, that Tannaitic position is the position taught by Rav Hamnuna, the son of Rava from Fashrunya, which is as follows: Sefer Torah tefillin umezuzot shekatvan min umasor oved kochavim ve'eved isha ve'katan ve'kuti v'Yisrael mumar psuli. So a Sefer Torah or tefillin or mezuzah that was written by any of the following people: a heretic, a masor is like someone who reports on people, someone who gives Jews over to the non-Jewish authorities to be dealt with, or an idol worshiper, or a slave, or a woman, or a minor, or a Samaritan, or a Jew who's kind of left the faith. Any of those Sifrei Torah, Tefillin, and Mezuzot, who were written by any of those people, they are pasul. It's not a kosher Sefer Torah or Tefillin or Mezuzah. Shnei Amar, as it says in the pasuk in Dvarim, ukshartem uktavtem. I'll leave you to look that up. Kol sheyeshno b'kshira, yeshno b'ktiva. V'kol she'eno b'kshira, eno b'ktiva. Anyone, because the pasuk links binding or wrapping and writing, anyone who kol sheyeshno, anyone who has tying, anyone who's obligated in tying or wrapping is obligated in writing. Anyone who's not obligated in wrapping or binding is not obligated in writing. In other words, you have to be obligated in tefillin in order to be obligated in writing a Sefer Torah, and if you're not obligated, you can't do it, and that excludes all of these people. So I would say again, this is the response, the response that explains one of the options, and here's the proof text. And I would also say that I would point out that this is a quote from Tanakh that's being used as sort of a proof text within a proof text. Okay. V'hadatanya korinbo, hai tanahu tatanya. So that position that says that you can actually read from such a Sefer Torah, that's an expression of this Tannaitic position, as we learned in the Breita. Lochin sfarim min ha'ovdei kochavim b'chol makom. You can buy Sifrei Kodesh from an idol worshiper in any place, ubilvad shiuk tuvin kehilchatan, as long as it's written kahalacha, as long as it's written in accordance with halacha, with all the rules governing the writing of a Sefer Torah. Uma'aseh be'oved kochavim echad b'tzidan, shehaya kotev sfarim. And there was a story, it happened with an idol worshiper in a place called Tzidan, who was writing sfarim, who was writing holy books. V'hitir Rashbag likach mimenu. And Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel said, permitted. He said, yes, you can buy from this guy. That is the Breita. So again, I would say, here's the proof text that's brought, and here's the answer. So in other words, what we just did is we had this challenge: how can we have three Tannaitic positions that each say different things? And the answer is, well, each one reflects the opinion of a different Tana, and individual Tanaim are allowed to disagree with each other, and that explains why we have so many different Tannaitic positions. Now the Gemara has an issue with this particular Breita. V'Rashbag ish ibud lishman bai, tiva lishman lo bai? Question mark, exclamation point. Rashbag requires ibud lishman. He requires, ibud is like working the leather to make it into parchment. It's when you take an animal skin and you make it into parchment. There's that process of leather working, I guess, is called ibud. So Rashbag requires that when you do that process for the parchment of a Sefer Torah, you do it lishman, that you have in mind the whole time during the process that you're doing it for a Sefer Torah. So he requires, bai, ibud lishman bai, he requires leather working for the sake of the Sefer Torah. K'tiva lishman lo bai, would he really then say that you don't have to write the Sefer Torah with Sefer Torah in mind? In other words, how could he be so permissive about letting an Oved Avodah Zarah write a Sefer Torah? He's someone who thinks that you even have to have the right kavanah in working the leather. So how could he think that you wouldn't need the right kavanah in writing the Sefer Torah? Titania, as we learn in a Breita. So here's the challenge, and this is what I've sometimes called the challenge proof. This is the proof text that proves that actually Rashbag really does think that you need ibun lishman, that you need, when you're working the leather, it needs to be done for the purpose of a Sefer Torah, otherwise it can't be used for the Sefer Torah. So Titania, as we learned in a Breita, tzipan zahav, o shetala lehen or behima tmea, psulot. If you cover it with gold or you patch it with the skin of a non-kosher animal, it's pasul. So talking about things that you could do with parchment that would make it not okay to use for a Sefer Torah. Those are things that you could do that would make it not okay for a Sefer Torah. Or behema tehora, kshirot. But if you patched it with skin from a kosher animal, then it would be kosher. Ve'afal pi shelo ivdan lishman. Even though you didn't work that leather for the sake of the Sefer Torah, knowing that it would be used for a Sefer Torah. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel omer, afilu or behema tehora psulot ad she'avdan lishman. But Rashbag disagrees in that Breita and says, no, even the skin of a tahor animal, of a kosher animal, is not permitted to be used for a Sefer Torah ad she'avdan lishman, until the leather working is done with the intent to use it for a Sefer Torah. So that seems like a little bit of a contradiction maybe in Rashbag's position. Why would he think that the leather working has to be L'Shem Sefer Torah, but not think that the writing has to be L'Shem Sefer Torah? Amar Rabba Bar Shmuel. Rabba Bar Shmuel responds, Beger shechazar l'soro. We're talking about a ger, a convert, someone who converted to Judaism, who then returns to their corrupt ways. In other words, the story of Tzidan, the story in that Breita, isn't an actual Oved Kochavim story. It's about someone who at some point was a Jew, so they could really have done it, they could really have been doing it for L'Shem Sefer Torah. L'Soro Kol Sheken Zahav Leimin. But wait, that seems crazy. If he returned to his corrupt ways, then even the more so. Now, instead of just being an Oved Kochavim, he's a heretic. That's arguably even worse. So, again, we're still stuck with that problem. Why would Rashbag say you can get a Sefer Torah from him? Amar of Ashi, Shechozer L'Soro Mishum Yira. Rav Ashi says this is the story of the guy in Tzidan. That was someone who returned to their previous wicked ways because of fear. In other words, they converted to Judaism where they became a religious Jew, and then they went back to their old ways, but not because they actually believed in Avodah Zarah, but just out of fear of, the regime or whatever. It's not politically popular to be Jewish, so they present as though they're not, but really deep down inside, they still have some level of belief, and that explains Rashbag's position in that story, which otherwise would seem to be very out of character for Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, who thinks that even the leather has to be L'Shem Sefer Torah. Clearly, he also thinks that the writing has to be L'Shem Sefer Torah, and that if it's not a kosher Sefer Torah. Okay, we'll stop there.